On today's Locked On NBA Squad Show, we take over the feed of your favorite show. We're talking about skinny Luka. How is he changing the NBA? Do we care? Is he going to keep this up? We also talk about restricted free agents, Jonathan Kuminga. What are the Warriors doing with him? We talk about Houston, Orlando, Minnesota. Are they dropping? We talk about Boston, all kinds of things on Locked On NBA Squad Show starting now. And welcome to the Locked On NBA Squad Show. My name is Nick Engstead, host of Locked On NBA and Locked On Mavericks. This is the Squad Show where we take over the feed of your favorite Locked On show. It's an open invite for any host to join, talk about anything, usually related to the NBA, sometimes not. We'll see what happens throughout this. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Joining me today from the champion Locked On Thunder, it's Rylan Stiles. From the skinny Luka having Locked On Lakers, it's Andy Kamenetsky. From the Desmond Bain trading for Locked On Magic, Philip Rossman-Reich. And from the KD DMing now, Jackson Gatlin. He's from Locked On Rockets. Gentlemen, we may go somewhere completely different, but today let's start with skinny Luka gracing the cover. Basketball player in part, model in full, Andy Kamenetsky.
My boy is hot, Nick. My boy is white hot. I am having an emotional basketball affair with skinny Luka, and I don't care who knows.
This is like your ex goes on Ozempic. Levels.
No. This is your ex.
your ex, Nick.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is your ex, not just going on Ozempic, but then going on an Instagram tour during each step of the Ozempic. Like he was on the Today Show. Luka was on the Today Show.
This is your ex goes on Ozempic and ends up dating Pete Davidson. They're just everywhere. You're just like, you just have to see it everywhere you go.
He is out there gallivanting in his new body and showing off a lot of leg.
For anybody else, do we care about this? Is this are you afraid of this? Rylan, Jackson, as teams that will be high in the West. Philip, you can sit out as you're in the B conference over there. But
he's Moses' guy, though.
Do we care about this? Is this making you shake in your boots at all?
I don't know about shake, but I think you absolutely have to think about what this does for Luka, for his health, for his ability on the basketball. Obviously, he was one of the best players in the entire NBA, top 5, top 3, whatever you want to call him, when he was healthy previously, right? But acting like I'm not going to call him fat like Nico Harrison, but acting like his conditioning wasn't a bit of an issue at times that maybe got downplayed or, looked over at times because of just how insanely talented he was. It was absolutely a factor, right? Like you go back to, rookie year Luka, sophomore year Luka, before he kind of added some of the weight, right? He was skinnier, he was leaner, he was on the Euro diet, whatever you want to call it. And so now you're getting this, new look Luka. Now I will say the hype surrounding skinny Luka is approaching levels of Hoodie Mello workout videos in the off season or Ben Simmons hitting threes. I'll believe it when I see it when we're 3 months into the NBA season. And if he actually stays skinny Luka and if it's actually improving his game, then sure, I'll be a little worried that he's about to unleash terror on the entire league. But until then, he can enjoy the influencer IG thought model tour, whatever he's doing right now.
This is the point I made on game night, is that the key for Luka is not right now, because we've seen Luka get in shape, maybe not in this good a shape right now, in this part of the season, but it's the post-international pre-NBA stretch. There's a month in between there, or a half month, and sometimes you're like, oh man, how did he put on that weight between?
He's just slamming Cheez-Its and all sorts of stuff.
I mean, honestly, and then it's the travel during the season, because he was specifically mentioned in that Men's Health article that the travel is something that really kind of not caught him off guard, but is difficult for him. And that during the offseason, he's in one place, you're stable, you can get into a routine, and the travel of the NBA. I mean, we've all traveled for finals and playoffs and stuff like that. Eating healthy while you travel is very hard, but I guess they have everything available to them in the NBA. But you also have everything available to you. So your choices, you can make crazy choices.
I'm sorry. Matt
Moore from Locked On NBA and Locked On Nuggets has entered the chat.
Are we trying to argue that it's difficult for the multi-million-dollar athlete who is catered to at every single step of the way to eat a salad? Are we...
Salads can have more calories than burgers, Matt. You don't know what kind of salad that is.
You know what has more calories than both? Beer.
That's very true, and that was a.
That's what he does during that month between in the offseason. Nick, he's just drinking all his recovery
beers. Yeah,
that's correct.
But I mean, I believe that he's going to be in a different shape this whole season. I believe that he is taking it more seriously.
A different shape is not like you could be in any kind of shape. He could be a rhombus.
I feel like SpongeBob. We're not talking about this. We're not talking about this. We're talking about this. Oh God.
But I do think in terms of like on the court, he was already a terrifying matchup nightmare for the entire NBA. That drug the Mavericks on what Matt Moore would call a fluke run to the finals. Like that's how good he is. So I just don't think that there's
our Mavs fluke runs reference from the squad show.
And I hid behind Matt. That way the Mavs Raccoon squad can't come after me. But I do think that there's nothing really left for him to prove on the court in terms of being an incredible player. Could he be more competitive defensively? Sure. And maybe this will help him do that. But other than that, he was always a matchup nightmare and a guy who you should be scared of, even as the Thunder, even as the Rockets and everyone else at the top of the West.
Here's the thing that I think give two reasons for optimism for me as somebody that obviously has a biased wish casting interest in Luka maintaining this.
For me.
It's excellent for me. But one, he seems to be cognizant of the idea of wrapping his arms around this. And, the quote that he gave to Men's Health, like, if I backslide, then all of this was for nothing. And like recognizing that there is a commitment to it. Like I remember when Julius Randle first signed with the Pelicans, I did an interview, Brian and I did an interview with him for The Athletic several years ago. And he said that the first thing he did when he signed with the Pelicans was hire a private chef. Cause he's like, when I would go on road trips to to New Orleans for the Pelicans, I'd gain weight because the food is just insane in New Orleans. So
can't attest.
It sounds like Luka is cognizant of the idea of there are steps towards this being a commitment, but also too, if Luka immediately backslides and by December, he's looking like pre-skinny Luka. Some would call it fat Luka. Do you know how humiliating that's going to be for him? Like if within 3 months, he goes from shredded, leaned out to looking like the guy before, especially after showing off this transformation at every single possible like I'm waiting for him to appear on NPR at this point. He's been in everywhere else talking about this transformation. Like he has set himself up to be a massive joke if he doesn't follow through on this reasonably well.
We always I feel like we always try and come up with these narratives and ask this question, like, how do elite athletes kind of find motivation? And this really does feel like sort of a kind of Michael Jordan moment where he's going to be like, I'm going to, Dallas, I was happy there. They caught me off guard with this trade. They said all these really bad things about me. I'm going to show them. And the one thing you don't do with incredible competitors, and you can say a lot of things about Luka Doncic, that guy is a competitor. He wants to win. He may not know all the ways he needs to win. And, maybe I haven't read the Men's Health thing, but maybe he got some ideas from LeBron, who has really been about taking care of his body. He's obviously 45 years old and still playing at a high level. I know he's not 45. I'm joking. But
yeah, he's not that young.
That's not even hyperbolic enough for it to be like a hyperbole.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's only 4 years off.
look at that guy. He's at the end of his career, at the end of his ropes. He's 32 years old. But Luka is one of those players that you give him an inch, just any reason to be motivated. And I can speak about this from experience as a Magic guy because he loves sticking it to Jamal Mosley. When he's playing the Magic, Luka comes out with the big guns to stick it to his former favorite assistant coach, Jamal Mosley. You give those guys just a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of motivation. They go for the whole thing. They are killers. They are ruthless. And that's what makes them the best players. And that's why, this does feel like this is going to be Luka's MVP season. Like he is setting the narrative now. Winning the MVP is a full season narrative blitz and narrative attack. He's done the Men's Health. He's done this media blitz. He's going to play Eurobasket. Slovenia has as good a chance as anyone to win that tournament. And then he's going to go to the Lakers, the biggest stage, probably playing on opening night for NBC or whoever's airing the opening night games. He's going to be in the spotlight the entire season. This feels like he is really going after it to show, I'm going to show the world how good I am and how wrong Dallas is.
And you know what? We kind of did this whole thing after they were bounced in the finals. We're like, oh, here's the embarrassment that's finally going to get him. And like, all right, that's why I'm waiting to like, all right, let's see if Andy is right about the whole thing. Like, all right, I know what I need to sacrifice now, and let's.
The finals, though, I don't think should have been considered an embarrassment for Luka. Like, you did get to the finals. Like, you achieved something getting to the finals. You're one of the last 2 teams remaining. That's much different than getting sucker punched in a trade, having your former team create a whisper campaign of, oh, we would have loved to commit to him, but old Tubby, we can't trust him to get through his to get through his
Game of Thrones. They were talking to those Game of Thrones birds.
They're
not whispering to those.
Yeah, they were screaming.
They took hundreds of millions of dollars out of his pocket. Like, getting eliminated in the finals does not come close to comparing to what he just went through now. Like, it's apples and cars. It's nothing close to each other.
Which one is the car?
Luka now, man, he's fine-tuned machine.
Oh, I used to have a drop from Jason Kidd. I want to be able to touch the car. That's what he said. It got introduced. Jason Kidd's introductory press conference. He said, "I want to be able to touch the car." And he used Luka as the car analogy. And it was very funny to me. Can we talk about the Men's Health article and how it used AI and completely got a thing wrong? It said Luka had a 42-inch vertical.
I mean,
we refrained from talking about that part on our show. On Locked On Lakers, we left that part alone even before your retraction became known, Nick. We just were like, let's leave that one alone. That sounds a little off.
You guys are writers. That's nuts.
Yeah,
that's insane. That came out a high-profile article like that with a high-profile, like obviously PR blitz and all of that. And to do the whole photo shoot with him and like to have that in there, like,
I mean,
somebody's intern got fired for that one.
No,
for sure.
I mean, look, fact checkers are gone, man. Like, editors work on SEO value now. Like, editors work on, how to program the back end in order for you to get populated in search, and how to make sure that everything is functioning correctly from a back end distribution standpoint. Not, like, I don't know how much people want to hear about how the sausage gets made, but like. We don't have fact checkers anymore. We don't have like definite editor setups here. So I'm not surprised that it happened. I guess like the question is like, why did the author in question not go like, wait, did Luka really have a 42-inch vertical? Like, the guy that like every January is like slumping down the court and like clearly enjoys Michelob Ultra, or not Michelob Ultra, Michelob whatever the opposite of that is.
He did get sent a lot of Ultra to his
Michelob
house
Heavy.
One time. Yeah, I guess you guys know that story where they sent him like cases and cases, like 100 cases of Michelob Ultra to his house.
Shouldn't we all be so lucky?
Yeah, come on. We had Michelob Ultra at some point. I don't think we got cases.
Yeah, now they're just shipping cases of Ozempic to his house.
I want to know how Men's Health got this. Why Men's Health?
Oh, because it's such a clear like PR strategy of like Men's Health. In the article, they were so detailed and focused on like the muscle groups and the workouts he was doing and like detail about the diet and stuff. And then it came to the basketball and they're like, compared to the highlight dunks of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I'm like, first of all, which highlight dunks from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? It's not necessarily his
sure
game.
AI
either.
didn't write that part too.
Yeah,
the AI had
the 42-inch vertical. I was like, man, the disconnect between the accuracy of the physical things and the non-accuracy of the basketball things.
How many of the non-quote sections of that article do we think was actually AI? All? It's probably all, right? Or pretty close to it.
All that included anything with basketball.
Sick.
We use AI for some of our stuff.
Yeah.
And it tries to tell me that Luka is on the Mavericks sometimes when it like suggests certain things to me. It's wild.
Yeah.
Reggie Jackson is still on the Nuggets.
Calvin Booth still has a job then.
Take me back. No, actually, David Adelman's going to be great.
Today's episode of Locked On NBA Squad's brought to you by Game Time. We've all been there, logging on early, waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale. Ugh, I did this trying to get into the Eras tour for Taylor Swift, and you just get stuck. And you're like, all right, I just want to get tickets. I just want to buy them. This is like capitalism. Give me the tickets. Okay, Game Time will give you the tickets. They've got them. Go check out. And also, they have price drops that are actually, they actually get lower as you get closer to game time, as you get closer to showtime, because you can go to games, concerts, theater, comedy shows, all kinds of stuff. You can save up to 60% with their killer last-minute deals on game time. You can also see the view from your seats. I love that as well. I use it to go to a lot of Dallas Wings games here in Dallas. I've also used it to go to concerts. I use it to go to all kinds of things. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets and concert tickets and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem that code LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Do we care about any of these restricted free agents still out there? I had a meeting with Locked On Nets today with Eric Slater, and he was like, I think I've beat the Cam Thomas thing to death. I'm like, well, what's going to happen? And he's like, they're kind of like stuck in a stalemate.
I'm here to tell you, Jonathan Kuminga cares. Jonathan Kuminga cares a lot.
Jonathan Kuminga's agent cares apparently too.
That dude is like, it is loud. It is getting loud over there, and it's obviously been loud since like Vietnam, but like he has been. Like, for as high profile as he thinks he is not as good of a player as he actually is.
I just want to say, I think the Suns have the chance to do the funniest thing possible and flip Jalen Green for Jonathan Kuminga. I would love to see that take place.
Wow.
Just some personal amusement for me.
I need to know if you're going to put Jalen Green in your top 100 and you're locked on top 100.
Please, Jackson. I've got it in mind. I love Jalen Green.
I think he's still there.
For
I
what
think he's
reason?
there.
I love Jalen Green.
I have him on mine too.
Is this restricted
Matt.
free agency thing is just like it's just going to be like this every summer now, where there's just no money and they're
Which
just
is
stuck.
good for the Thunder.
Because
that's what they did when they changed the rules about how long you have to confirm the contract, the crazy cap hold for that. If you're not like a guaranteed, there's obviously the max guys, there's obviously guys who get like just under the max, but if you're like one of these I don't know guys, you're kind of just stuck in limbo, and your team is stuck in limbo too. I mean, this is getting to the cap nerdy stuff, but it's just no one wants to move on any of these guys that are questionable, because whatever they put down that the other guy's going to agree to, the other team's going to match, and you're just going to be handcuffed for the however many days it is now. It's just not worth it to pursue any of these guys. And so some of these guys just need to be willing to say, okay, you're not giving me what I want. I'm going to bet on myself. I'm taking the qualifying offer, and I'm going to be an unrestricted free agent next season. And I'll be able to go where, essentially wherever I want to go. But again, some of the problem there is like cap room doesn't matter anymore. Like everybody has to sign extensions because nobody has cap room to sign anybody big anymore. So if you're Jonathan Kuminga and you think you're $20 million player or whatever it is, a $30 million player, you're not going to find that anywhere except for your team that you're on. And if they're not willing to give it to you, you're kind of stuck. You're trapped. And so I think, restricted free agency has a purpose. My team knows it more than anybody else because of Shaq back in the 90s. But restricted free agency has a purpose, but it seemingly has outlived its purpose and has just become this tool to handcuff players to teams. And when the team doesn't want them, they don't know what to do anymore.
It's also just going to get worse next year because cap is only going to go up, we think, 7% as opposed to 10%. So that is not outpacing the 8% raises that happen for a lot of these other big contracts. So like everybody's talking about second apron culture, there's just less money. And for these guys, especially the ones where you don't give them extended, actual extensions, those are the players that you have questions about. And those are just going to be the players that get squeezed all the time.
It used to be that if you squeeze these guys, that was like, it was an insult. And like, you can tell that they still feel that way. Like Kuminga and Thomas still feel that way. But the owners have set it up where they could be like, sorry, we really can't avoid the apron. Oh man, we're all trying to find the guy who did this. It sucks. A shame I can't pay you the way that I used to pay these other guys. Cause that was kind of the thing for a while, was like a lot of guys were getting these contracts and everybody was like, really? And this is like the corrective course for that. Now I don't like it because they don't have a chance to hit the open market, right? It's restricted. Like that's the other part of this is you don't want to waste your cap space in a limited market on a guy that the team can just be like, okay, we'll just match it. I also just think the Warriors are being morons here. You don't want him. He's not very good. He doesn't fit with your team. You're trying to win a title with Steph. He doesn't really fit with Steph Curry. Love of God. Just move the kid. Like, let him go somewhere else. Send him to Phoenix. I think he could actually be pretty good there.
Doesn't he represent the only young guy that kind of worked out for them? Maybe Pajemski now, but
Giddey had a good season last year. Or for Golden State, never mind. Sorry.
The timeline thing, like he's kind of the only young guy that has any still kind of potential.
I think it's less of the face saving thing, and I think it's more of like there is this like, well, we just can't let the asset go.
Yeah,
we can't let the asset go. And I get it, because from that standpoint, like the Rockets gave Jalen Green a stupid extension, and then the Suns were like, okay.
The tinfoil hat on that is they gave him that extension so that they could trade him sooner. Because if you let him get to this
I don't
summer,
even think that's a tinfoil hat. That's just a hat.
Okay, fine. Hat. There you go. Sure. It's a sombrero then. It's just a big ass hat. How's that?
The accountant's
half the
hat.
extensions the Magic gave last summer, I've been telling people, is like, these are trade slots. Like, you need a $15 million salary for a future trade. This is how it works now.
D'Angelo Russell, either last year or 2 years ago, I don't remember which one it was, but he was working off the last contract he had with the Lakers, and he openly talked about, in so many words, yeah, I know that this contract was set up for me to be tradable. Like, it turned out he wasn't until later than they thought they would. But these guys aren't stupid. Like, they know how this stuff works. They know what the deal is when they sign these contracts. Like, at this point, I think, unless you're talking about a situation like Luka, most of these guys are not going to be sucker punched anymore with a deal. Like, they're like on the block the minute they sign their contracts. Like, that's the way this stuff works now. If anything, with Matt, we were talking about the Warriors being idiots, and we want the asset. They've spent a couple of years now depreciating the asset that they refuse to let go. Like, if there's anything that I think could come out of the Kuminga situation, some of these other ones, you have to decide much quicker. Are you in with this guy or not? Because they could have gotten something for Kuminga a couple years ago. Instead, they've been consistently lowering his value, and now they feel like stuck because they have to do something with him, and they know he's too talented to just let walk for nothing, but he doesn't fit for what they want to do, and they don't want to tailor what they do at all to fit him. So the whole thing is stupid.
It feels like they're clearly not in on him, and they're also too embarrassed to admit that.
I don't think it's embarrassment. I just think because
they're embarrassing.
I think well, you think everything's embarrassing. Like, I think
I'm with him that I think it's embarrassing too.
Well, I think it can be embarrassing from the outside, but I don't know that teams look at it that way. Like, I don't know that they actually look at those kind of things. I think
it feels like it's both sides just don't know the value. Like, Golden State doesn't value Kuminga as much as Kuminga values himself and thinks he should be paid. And so, like, there's whatever deal is on the table is what, 2 for 48 or whatever it is, or whatever that deal is. Like, he's not willing to take that. And Golden State's, well, we've got all the cards now. We've got all the leverage. So you're either taking this or taking the qualifying offer and spending another year at, whatever that amount is, that's much, much lower. Take it or leave it. Like, I agree. They're kind of kicking the can down the road, but the contract expired. This is where they're at. This is how they value him. He doesn't value, he values himself as much more and is holding out for more. And all the seats at the table have been taken, and Kuminga has no choice. And a lot of these guys have no choice but to take what the team is giving them or go for that qualifying offer and say, okay, I'll be an unrestricted free agent next summer then.
It's one of the things I hate.
I'll have the no trade clause on top of that.
It's one of the things I hate in the league is that everybody wants everything. Like, nobody ever wants to compromise. The Warriors aren't like, well, look, you don't really fit what we want to do. We benched you here, fine. Go be free. And on his end, like, and he's considering it signing the qualifying offer, but that's the answer here is like, all right, you don't think that this offer is fair and you're going to show it and you're going to prove it to him, sign the qualifying offer. And then get out of there. Then you can go make up your own mind.
The problem, though, for Kuminga is he's not at a place where he can bet on himself.
Right.
Like, it's very clear. Like, this is the one team maybe that he cannot bet on himself because he already knows they don't think I fit for what they do, and they're not going to make any accommodations for me. Like, right or wrong, no matter how you feel about Kuminga, the Warriors are a terrible place for him to bet on himself.
There's also not that much free agency money out there. Like, Matt was like, he doesn't get to go test the market. Like, I don't know. Are there guys out there getting huge deals? Like, there's not a ton of cap space out there. Maybe the Nets would not have done the MPJ thing and signed him, but
hey, we don't bring that up. We're very happy
it's
about
official,
that
right? They can't rescind it. Like, they can't come.
But like, that's
no
like,
take backsies.
That's the difference between like restricted free agency now and restricted free agency 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. The Nets gave 4 for 44 or 4, gave a huge contract to Alan Crabb, and everyone saw that deal and was like, what are they doing? And it was like, Brooklyn was like, we have the cap room. We're going to make life miserable for one of our opponents, and we'll take the salary, we'll eat it, and we'll see what happens. Rebuilding teams don't even do that anymore. They don't take flyers on these restricted free agents and say, you know what, we're not going to be good for 2 or 3 years. Let's give it a try. Let's try this out. They don't act that way anymore. They get those players, like getting Michael Porter Jr. in other ways. And so restricted free agency is just, those players are just trapped. Like there's nowhere for them to go. And they're either going to take what the teams are giving them, or they're going to have to hit the qualifying offer and bet on themselves. And sometimes that they're not going to get as much as they think they're going to get, because there's just no money around anymore. No one plays free agency anymore. Like Paul George going to the Sixers, the fact that Paul George went to the Sixers and has completely flamed out, that's probably the end of like big players moving in free agency like that. It's going to happen very rarely now.
No one plays free agency. That's entering the Lakers music again for 2026, 27. They're loading up, playing powder, keep it dry.
I am not convinced that is the plan A, the way it's actually being presented. We shall see. Even by the standards of unimaginative star effery that we've seen from the Lakers as an organization, those reports feel conveniently stupid. Like particularly the 2027 piece of it. Like the 2026, okay, you could maybe make an argument we can't flip the roster the way we want to as quickly as we can this offseason. Maybe next offseason, when we really do have much more flexibility and a lot of contracts off the books, we just can maneuver better. But like the idea of essentially sitting in idle for 2 years, 2 years of Luka's prime, because you're hoping that you can maybe lock up Giannis from ages 33 to 36, just feels conveniently stupid. And I also noticed that the 2027 reports, to the best of my knowledge, did not start surfacing until after Rich Paul left the statement with LeBron's opt-in and hinting some displeasure. I did some math. I'll just leave it at that. They did not feel like unconnected events to me. That all of a sudden this started coming out at a time when they were expressing perhaps a disappointed mood.
The clear up a bunch of space for Giannis is the Mavericks playbook from 2019. They literally tried that exact same thing.
You just got a different Antetokounmpo.
That's correct. They got Kostas, and it worked out.
Can I'm interested in the Rockets. Hayes on Locked On NBA Daily is very very in on Houston. Rylan,
the city, or the
no,
why not both?
Can understand why the city.
Rylan, I'm kind of curious. Do you have they played you guys tough a couple of times last year? I'm kind of just curious. They played the Thunder tough last year. I'm just kind of curious if you think Thunder fans should have an appropriate level of fear for Houston, or if they are still kind of not in that consideration. And I'm curious on Ryan's position on it from a Nuggets standpoint too.
Yeah, I mean, I have it as the Thunder, the best team in the West, and then it's the Nuggets and Rockets, 2 and 3. I think that these are the 3 clear leaders in the clubhouse to try to win the Western Conference. So by nature of that, you should have an appropriate fear for Houston. And I don't really even care how the Rockets start the season. I think that perhaps there could be a little bit of a stumble out of the gate for them as they figure out how all this stuff works with their new front court, with Kevin Durant, pairing him with Sengun. But I think that by the end of the season, they're going to be legitimate contenders. And the Thunder better hope that it does go 1, 2, 3, where they can delay the possibility of playing one of those 2 teams until the West Finals and only have to go through one of them versus having to go through both of them if they're trying to repeat, which they are. So I do think that they should be legitimately fearful or just acknowledging that the Rockets are legit contenders. I still would have Denver ahead of them, but I do think it's very close, and it is a 1, 2, 3 to me pretty clearly. I don't think that there's an argument for anyone else to be in that top 3.
This is where I chime in. I think this is where I chime in.
I actually, before you do, I actually want to hear if Ryan is scared of Houston as a Nuggets guy.
I'm appropriately I'm higher on Kevin Durant, I think, than a lot of people are. I'm on the top 100 that we released. I think I put him at 7 on the entire NBA list, which
wow.
is very aggressive still, given where he's been. But like, you make sure that he's healthy heading into the playoffs. And like, what was Houston weak at this past year? It was scoring in the half court, a number 1 overall option, somebody that they could trust to sort of operate everything and draw all of the attention and make things easier for the rest of their squad. Alpi will be better. Amen Thompson will be better. Jabari Smith will be better. I think he's one of the guys that secretly will benefit a lot from this. Now, that could also potentially backfire, and they could decide, we'd rather trade him for some shooting. But we'll see what happens and what they ultimately look like. But I think that they are, like, if Denver lost to Houston in the playoffs, I would not be surprised. Would it be disappointing for Denver specifically? Sure. But like, would it be surprising? No.
Yeah, and Houston should be able to, I think, protect Kevin, because they've proven that they have an excellent coach. They have a team that can play a winning style of basketball in the regular season, because I still expect that defense to be really good with who they have on the roster. And their roster is good enough to win in the regular season, as we saw last year, without their biggest flaw being that bucket getter. So I think that you can manage his minutes in a way that gets him to the end of the season and really inject him come playoff time. And that's kind of what the Thunder did with Caruso, where they kind of kept him in bubble wrap all season long. They unveil him in the postseason. He plays every game and plays that taxing style of basketball that he does play, and it helped the Thunder win a championship. So I think that even from a standpoint of if you're iffy on Kevin Durant at this stage of his career and with his previous health or whatever, I think that even Houston helps him get to the end more than other teams could.
Although
we're not going to hang on. We're not going to let it slide.
Jackson, I had a vision in my head of Jokic and Valanciunas on the floor versus Steven Adams and Alperen Sengun, and just like tag team, like WWE takedown.
Well, if Valanciunas was on the floor, it was not the postseason, huh? It was like
can we just make that? Can we just make that game 4 of that second round series?
Early 2000s NBA loves that idea.
Honestly, I'm ready for it. Look, one of the things that I love about kind of the direction some of the teams in the NBA are headed, right, is teams are able to play multiple different styles, right? You see some teams that are able to, roll out the double big lineup, like we saw the Thunder with their double big. We saw the Cavs with their double big. We saw the Celtics at times running their double big lineups. But the versatility to run the double big at times, and having one of them ideally be a shooting, a spacing big, but then also being able to go small. And what's funny is I think the Rockets are, weirdly enough, they're kind of built right now very similar to how the Thunder are kind of built, right? They've got a ton. They're going to be a hell of a defense. The only difference really between the two is that the Rockets went for like forwards and wings. The Thunder are a ton of guards, right? A ton of point of attack defenders, guards. You've got the, really the scramble, get everywhere kind of defense that OKC runs. And then, offensively for OKC, right? Everything runs through Shea. And then the 10 to 12 minutes a game that Shea's sitting, it runs through J-Dub. The Rockets, it's going to be everything's running through KD in the half court for the most part. Sengun will still shoulder some of the offensive burden, but KD will take a lot of that pressure off of him. One stat that jumped out when I was looking at things this past season, right, is Sengun commanded more double teams than anybody except for Nikola Jokic in the NBA this past season. And it felt like the Rockets failed to capitalize on those opportunities time and time again throughout the year, throughout the regular season, throughout the postseason. Now you're actually giving Alp a running mate, not even a running mate, a number 1 option, right? Because KD is number 1 now on this team, period, point blank. You're giving him, a fellow star to be able to actually take some of that pressure off of him. And I think that's going to do wonders for the Rockets offense, because it at times this past season and, in the 2 years under Ime Udoka, it's felt like, pulling teeth with this Rockets team, trying to just watch them play offense, right? It hasn't been pretty. A lot of you guys would clown on the Rockets through the regular season for how bad the offense actually looked. And it did look bad, right? They had to try to find ways to be effective despite being, kind of a mess offensively at times. Now you've got Kevin Durant, one of the most gifted scorers to ever touch a basketball. He's your get out of jail free card offensively. He's not going to magically turn the Rockets into a top 5, top 10 offense, but it's going to look a lot better than it did last season. And they were already the number 2 seed last season with a broken offense. Like, it's going to get a lot better. I don't see how they're not clearly the favorites to be the second best team in the Western Conference right now.
I mean, they're not clearly the favorite. Like, they're in that conversation with Denver. I think what's interesting is, like, there's no the tide riser, I think, is really interesting. Like, the guy that makes everybody better. Kevin Durant hasn't been that for his teams. And that's been like, that to me is the missing thing here with Brooklyn and Phoenix. Like, that's the thing, is like, there's nobody that like makes everybody better. He's not that guy. And like, if you look around like this group, right? Like, Andy's team's got Luka.
I thought you were going to say us as podcasters like this. Look at this group. Like,
that's where I thought you were going to.
Who's making everybody better here?
That's me. I make everybody better. Andy, Luka makes everybody better. Jokic makes everybody better. Honestly, like the Rockets are kind of trying to duplicate the Thunder style, which is like their offense is just kind of, it's statistically fine, good, but like, and all it really is like the defense is what raises everybody up, because like I don't know that men can do that, and I don't know that baby Sabonis is ready to like lift everybody up and be that kind of a weapon. And like Philip, like I have that same question with Orlando.
Yeah,
is
that's
like
a fair question.
Who's the guy? Like Franz,
it's Paolo.
The guy.
It's Paolo, but he's got to be able to make shots more efficiently.
Right. And like Nick doesn't like the Mavericks don't have one because they're not a serious team. But like that is
whoa. It's
that
not
is
like
like,
they traded away. It's not like they traded away a generational talent that was a top 3 player in the game like 5 months ago.
Poor Cooper Flag.
Quentin Grimes.
Raise the flag.
No, but that's what I mean, Matt, to your point, that's what I was saying is the Rockets are weirdly kind of built very similar to the Thunder, right? The defense is going to be overwhelming. The offense is going to be, so-so at times, but they don't need the offense to be phenomenal, right? They just need it to be better than it was last year. And the defense is going to be overwhelming. The rebounding is going to be the best in the NBA again. They've got depth. They're easily top 5 in the NBA as far as depth across the board. Like they're going to be able to keep KD in bubble wrap throughout the regular season.
But can you win 60 games without that though? Because like
their guard depth is not a 60-win team.
Like OKC doesn't have that kind of force, but their defense was so good and Shea was so good that they were able to get there. Like the Rockets' record was great, but if you go under the hood, it's like, oh, they had an incredible record versus all the really good teams they couldn't compete with in the playoffs. Like a little bit of smoke and mirrors there. How are they going to win 60 games?
How much of that? So you're saying smoke and mirrors. How much of that though is just like, again, in the regular season, Jalen Green was, Jalen Green for some of the regular season. In other games, he was also Jalen Green and didn't show up, right? And then in the playoffs, they got 6 out of the 7 games where Jalen Green didn't show up. Like you're replacing that with KD now. Like that's what that's a really like simplistic way to look at it, but. You airdrop KD into that series in place of Jalen Green. They wipe the floor with the Golden State Warriors. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, yeah, because the Warriors aren't good.
Okay, then move on to the Wolves. What do they do against the Wolves with KD in place of Jalen Green?
They still
and
lose.
DFS in place of Dylan Brooks.
They still lose.
They still lose to that Wolves team?
Oh yeah, that Wolves team was really good. That Wolves team was really good. OKC making them look that bad was a credit to OKC and how bad Finch coached the first 2 games of that series.
I really like seeing Jackson on the end of this. Your team is a fluke thing now.
I like how KD hasn't even played a second of basketball with the Rockets, and Matt's already out of it. He's like, nope, I can't buy it.
And he won't put Cooper Flag in his top 100. He's projecting this, but he won't.
I am just playing devil's advocate here because I do think it's kind of interesting of the fit with KD is the thing here. Is like, okay, it's not like KD was bad in Phoenix. It's not like KD was bad in Brooklyn. So why weren't those teams better? Like that's
the defense was awful. The defense was horrendous. What? That's easy.
I mean,
Phoenix was a bottom 4 defense this past season. Like the argument that I see from all the fans were like, why would you want go? Okay, go for it.
That wasn't his entire career there. Like that was last year. Okay, fine. I think the defense is more indicative of where that team got to with chemistry. Like I think chemistry and how that team was like together is what impacted that defense. Like there's no reason for that defense to have been as horrendously terrible as it was. Bad, sure. That bad? I don't know. And I feel the same way about the Thunder on the other end, which is like they're unbelievably talented. Like Lou probably should have won DPOY, right? Caruso, all these dudes. But like their ability to play together, the chemistry that they had defensively that's what made them an all-time great defense. And that's why the Mavericks will not be that. It's because
they tried really hard.
Got vibes. They got vibes over here.
They have no leaders. You have no leaders.
Oh, their leaders.
Fred VanVleet's a leader?
Yeah, so hang on. You're saying Mavs have no leaders or Rockets?
Oh, Mavs. No, Houston's got leaders.
Okay,
Houston's
I was like, so because like I again, you're talking about the culture, the chemistry, all that. Like, and I see a lot of people throwing out the stuff like KD's not a leader. I don't think he needs to be that in Houston. Like they just need him to show up and be KD. Show up, hit shots, make clutch buckets, be the number one option. Awesome. They've got like Ime is the culture. Fred is the culture. Like,
but again, I'll ask like if you want them to be considered the super contender, which is how we labeled it over on Locked On NBA Daily. Like if you want to be that, they can't be like okay. They can't be like, well, it's a pretty bad offense, and then KD makes some shots. That's not gonna be enough, Jackson. They got to be a top 10, top 5 offense. Like I've like taken digs at OKC, top 5 offense. How are they going to be a top 10 offense?
I think the thing about Sengun playing off of KD could get them there, where that all of a sudden opens up a lot for him because
I have the same question with the Magic, which is like defense top 5 again. How good can they get?
Okay, look, they were 12th in offensive rating this past season, with as horrendous as their offense was.
Yeah,
as horrendous
offensive rebounds.
Because it was propped up with offensive rebounding. Like that's transition. The thing. It was propped up with offensive rebounding and transition buckets, right? But the thing is when the game does slow to a crawl, right, in the postseason, right, they were in rock fights every single game with that Warriors team. And that defense against the Warriors or against any other team that you slot them against, like, I don't think the Rockets, there's not a way to expose that defense. I don't think they don't have like a weak link in the armor. The defense is good and that'll translate. And so that's why I'm just like, I really struggle to see how this team doesn't take a significant step forward. Call it homerism, call it looking at it with the rose tinted goggles, whatever you want to do. But KD by himself is going to drag this Rockets team into being a top 10 offense. You're telling me they can't jump up at least 3 spots from 12 to 9 with the addition of KD over Jalen Green? Like that's happening.
Shot selection to the KD shot selection.
Dude,
a little bit of an upgrade.
That's happening, period. Like that's an easy jump to make. And then you sprinkle in a little bit of internal growth and improvement for the other young guys like Alperen. Shoot, Alperen Sengun had his worst year as a pro shooting the basketball. He was wildly inefficient last season. If he can get back to what he shot, years 2 and 3, which there's more evidence than not that he can get back to that level of efficiency. Like that's another step forward for him. Amin Thompson, year 3 leap.
Okay.
It's right around the corner.
You set him up. No, you did this to him.
No, Matt.
You were responsible for this.
You can't put the
you wound him up.
Matt.
His parents are gonna be so mad for me.
He just got home. He has algebra to do
they're
tonight.
gonna be happy because then I'm gonna tucker myself out and take a nap later. It's all good.
Says Jackson running around in circles in the living room to get him. What was your concern about the Magic, Matt?
So
we have to talk about one Eastern Conference team.
I know, right?
It's the only one here.
And I think the Magic are really interesting. Everybody's like very in on them.
They're the third seed. They're the third seed in the Eastern Conference. Guaranteed, it's happening.
Guaranteed. Okay, well then it's not happening then. I think.
Don't put that juju on me, Bobby.
8 months from now,
Bobby.
Everything Jackson says is wrong.
I actually think Detroit is on their same level. It's gonna be like one of them or Detroit. If the Sixers,
it's Orlando, Detroit, and Atlanta in that second grouping. And Orlando might be there. It depends on health. Like at the end of the day, a lot of guys missed time last year, but like still so much is wrapped up in Jalen Suggs being good because the downgrade defensively from Jalen Suggs to Tyus Jones as a starting guard is humongous. And this team is still going to be really dependent on their defense. So they got to reprove that they can defend, losing some of the guys they lost. And that shouldn't be a huge issue. But this is a franchise that hasn't had a top 20 offense since 2012. Like I get the skepticism, like prove it to me that you could score. And, Desmond Bane is a different kind of shooter than Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. So I do think they're going to get out of the bottom 10 in offensive rating. Are they going to be top 10? No. Are they going to be top 15? I'm 50-50 leaning no. They just need to be competent enough. And the Eastern Conference is just so wide open and so just bad that should be enough for them to win 50 plus games, be in the hunt for the third seed, certainly be home court advantage. And so they just like the biggest question with the Magic is, there's a lot of potential and you expect young guys to grow. You expect, Desmond Bane to help. They just have never done it. They haven't done it. And so you have to, like to the point about Houston's done it. They were the 2 seed last year. Like, there are questions about how they integrate Kevin Durant, how they might change and all that, but they did it last year. They've proven they can do it. They have that institutional knowledge to do it. The Magic haven't done it. They've scraped, they've scrapped, they've for the last 2 years, they've done all they could, but They have to score the basketball. It's not. It's been really hard for them.
I mentioned that we have to talk about an Eastern Conference team, and literally John Corrales appeared. Like,
speaking of bad Eastern times.
John, are you in on the Magic? Jackson just said that they should be guaranteed top 3 in the East next year.
Well, no, I didn't say guarantee. I said third. They're not going to suddenly slip into like the first or the second spot. So don't say top 3.
So only 3. So you're wrong if they're second. You don't want to be wrong if they're second.
Come on, Jackson.
They're not going to be. They're not going to be second. It's the Cavs.
So they're only going to be third. He's like,
it's Cavs and Knicks.
If you told anybody the Rockets were going to be second last year,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, I would have been really wrong.
I didn't tell anybody that because they overachieved.
Yeah.
Flukes happen.
Wait, they overachieved last year?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sounds a little fluky.
You can't back down from that now.
Sounds a little fluky.
That was Matt's whole point.
It's not a fluke. What?
We talked about it for 20 minutes that they overachieved there. I was defending you. It made me feel gross. I defended a team in Houston this much. Back to the Magic. John, do you believe in the Magic? Only 3. Can they get to 3?
Yeah, they can get to 3. I think.
3, my lord. 3, my lord.
5, sir. 3.
I mean, obviously they have to stay healthy, but I'd like to see Franz Wagner like somehow get into some sort of consistent shooting. But you bringing in Desmond Bane is a big thing, and it kind of addresses their offensive issues. I love their defense. Obviously, I just watched the series where the Celtics just got pummeled by them defensively, and I do think they have an opportunity to climb into third. There are a lot of teams that can climb into third, right? So I mean, it's Cleveland and New York are 1-2. I assume everybody's kind of on the same page as that. But then Orlando, Detroit. I heard Atlanta mentioned. I'm such an Atlanta hater that I question it. I think it's just a knee-jerk reaction for me, but
no, it's a deep-seated Trae Young non-belief.
That's
you.
right.
How
That's
many years have we done?
Where's Trae Young on your top 100, John?
Yeah,
not on there. He's not included.
Not included. No, yeah, I haven't done my list.
He has him at 100, so he doesn't get fined.
I haven't even thought about where he would be. Probably lower than most. He hasn't done anything to prove me wrong. So, but yeah, I like Orlando. I've been like kind of on the Orlando bandwagon for a couple of seasons now, and there've been injuries that have kind of derailed that, and a couple of things maybe a little out of their control that have derailed it a little bit. But I've gone into the last 2 seasons being like, I'm not so sure anybody wants to face Orlando. And I came into this season in this playoff saying, I am not so sure anybody wants to face Orlando in the playoffs. And I think what Orlando did to Boston was a big reason why Boston was kind of in the position they were in the second round to get knocked out by New York. Like I think Orlando really softened them up with that defense. So you add a little scoring punch to that. I think Orlando could rise up and snag a 3rd seed if things go well.
I'm just glad you still like Orlando after the way Orlando literally pummeled Boston on occasion during that series.
The vicious attacks by the Orlando Magic.
Goga Batadze.
All that was missing from that series was chants from the crowds. Get the tables. That's all that was missing. Mick Foley coming out with thumbtacks at mid-court.
The performance center is like 15 minutes away from where I'm sitting right now. We can go.
I know. Yeah, it's right there. I'm sure one of those guys would have come over with, this is how you hit him with a chair. But no, yeah, man. The only thing I don't like about Orlando is staying downtown. That's about it. Anything besides downtown Orlando, I'm all for.
Oh, the humidity and like not being close to an ocean that's not great in Orlando.
No,
you do not want to be outside for more than 2 minutes right now. I can tell you that.
We've transitioned into talking about the weather on this basketball podcast.
Speaking of Atlanta, they stole Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Date's going well.
Is Minnesota just cooked?
is Minnesota just cooked?
Like, what's the vibe on Minnesota? Like,
is Nickeil Alexander-Walker like an MVP? People's reaction to that deal.
I love Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I just think
he was like the best player that like moved teams because nobody could move teams.
Did you know that Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are cousins?
Yeah, it's all in the family.
The same family?
Yeah.
What?
Allegedly. I just think that they're betting a lot on like Jalen Clark or Terrence Shannon Jr. to take a step forward after back-to-back West Finals appearances. I think that they've been passed by Houston and Denver. And I'd be more afraid of a team that's led by Luka. And if you can get DeAndre Ayton to a plus level, which I call me silly. I'm buying into DeAndre Ayton, okay?
I didn't realize we were drinking on this episode.
I'm all in on DeAndre Ayton.
Well, we're about 50 minutes in. That's about when when the beverages come out.
I will say Nickeil Alexander-Walker was not the most important player in those matchups with the Nuggets and with the Golden State Warriors. Like, he's really nice to have. He's a good kind of role player connective piece for them. But like, I really like what Terrence Shannon did by the end of the year. I really like what Jalen Clark did by the end of the year. I think Rob Dillingham should be expected to jump up a little bit. They're gonna be fine, and they can also rank them during the middle of the season.
Mike Conley's creaky knees really want Rob Dillingham to.
Aren't the connective pieces more important in Minnesota than maybe some other teams though? Like, don't the Timberwolves kind of need those guys to step up?
But like how much was Nickeil that piece though? Like, Nikhil's not like a secondary playmaker. He's just a spot out. He is a pure 3-and-D dude, and that's valuable. I think he's really good. But I don't know how you go from they made back-to-back Western Conference finals appearances. They're done.
I look at could have been passed by, maybe.
I look at the moves of Denver and Houston passing them by. I look at what Julius Randle looked like playing a defense the caliber of OKC. And if you think that Houston can get to that caliber as well, then he's also going to be overwhelmed by Houston. And of all the different options that Minnesota had, like, whenever they could make a clean pass out to the corner to Nickeil Alexander-Walker, that was their best chance. And now they're banking on more younger, unproven guys to fill that role. And I think
that's what the CBA is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at best that they're 4, and then they could be 5 or 6 in the West.
I mean, but they weren't
lived through that too, right?
For sure. Like, they weren't top 3 in the West this year. And I could, like, Ryan will back me up on this. Like, Denver doesn't want to see them.
Hell no.
Denver doesn't want to see. KD did not have a fun experience playing Minnesota. That was not a fun experience for him in 2024. That was not enjoyable for him.
Gross. The FanDuel had him at 49.5 over under their win.
That's still in the hunt.
They won 49 last year. So
it's a good line, but like they're a team that is going to be a little bit better than the sum of their parts in the playoffs because they just have the athleticism and the physicality. And they, like, Chris Finch is just a fantastic coach and is able to, like, other than, well, those first couple games of the Western Conference Finals, but he's really good. He knows how to make plays and like help his team set them up.
So let me ask this then. If better than the sum of their parts in the playoffs is like, that's a great description of the Timberwolves, but does that set them up for kind of like leaning on, well, we're a better playoff team than a regular season team, and kind of overlooking some of the things that they're going to need to fix? Maybe not this season, but over the next couple of years as they're building a team, because they're going to start getting expensive soon. Is this like, I don't know. I don't look at Minnesota as a team that's ascending into pretty soon they're going to be like the contender. I feel like
I think that is done.
It depends on Anthony Edwards. Obviously, he's going to have to take that leap.
Their window's open and their ceiling is very low. Is what I gather. And like, look, I think that like Houston and Denver are clearly better than them, but like Minnesota's done it. Like, they've gone to the conference finals. You could say like the path opened up for them a little bit last year with the way the seedings worked out, but like, that's also the Western Conference. Like, it's sometimes you just throw the 8 teams up in the air and wherever they land is wherever they land. And everybody's about as good as everybody else. And like, Minnesota is a proven playoff team. And there's going to be very, very few series where Anthony Edwards isn't the best player on the floor. Like, Oklahoma City is probably one of those series. Like, Denver is one of those series, and they still won that. They're still able to beat the Nuggets in that series. The Wolves are still just, I think, a really dangerous team that I think people are like, I don't think they're necessarily better this summer, but I think people are kind of sleeping on their chances to advance in the playoffs again.
Rudy's still so good, man.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I get it's annoying. I get how obnoxious he is. I get it, man. But like, there's just not another rim protector like him. He's still so good as an interior rim protector.
And the jump shot is really coming along. He's working with lethal shooter. Like he's taking these step in pull ups. Like the form looks great. It's right in front of his face, so he can't see the rim when he takes the shot. Like it's just looking great.
The Rudy Gobert lethal shooter collab is like, that's going to do some numbers on social.
Incredible. I could not believe that. I was like, we're doing this again.
He's sitting out Eurobasket, right?
Every time the Timberwolves come into town to play the Mavs, I go and watch him warm up, and he just sits and does dribble drills for a long time, and I just sit and watch him and go, what are we doing? Like, what? Guess that helps with touch. I agree with Matt, though. He's a great rim protector.
John, I have Derrick White at an unreasonable number in my top 100. I think he is so good.
He's a really good player. I mean, he should be fairly high. Again, I haven't started my list, so I don't know where he's going to end up. But like,
I have Devin Booker as the guy right behind him.
Oh, jeez, wow! So that's high.
Hello.
Whoa,
that's incredible.
I mean, if we're just going from like last year, then I'm with him on that.
Like,
I would rather have Derrick White on my team than Devin Booker if we're gonna get last year.
Because like a lot of it's like Derrick White can't do what Devin Booker does as the number one option, but Derrick White is so damn good as second, third option in every single facet of the game. Like there's not a team in the league Derrick White would not make better. There's not a single team in the league.
Oh, I think there are a lot of teams that would sit there and say, if we're looking for a player type to be our point guard or be one of our lead guards, like I know I said this about the Magic for forever. The Magic need to find a Derrick White. Like that's the guy you want on your team to make your roster better.
If you're the Magic, would you have rather had Derrick White over Desmond Bane?
Jalen Suggs stole his hair. So.
I honestly kind of think so because of the playmaking and shooting is just so much better.
I love Dez, but you'd rather have Derrick.
I know I'm excited for Dez too, but
yeah, for sure.
But like Derrick White's a more natural point guard, and the Magic need that very, very badly still.
And he's so smart. He's one of the smartest basketball players you're going to find. And
like 2 years ago, Ryan and I were having a debate at the table about would you rather have Jamal Murray or Derrick White? And at the time, it was like, well, you'd rather have Jamal Murray. And now it's like, no question. Like you'd rather have Derrick White.
Yeah.
Like you just.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a testament to him. And he's done so much work to get to where he's going, to where he is. And he's still, I mean, he's 31 now. So he's, starting to turn that corner. But he's so good. He's so smart. He reads things and he's like more athletic than people realize. And like humble and all that. So he might be like one of like the perfect basketball players. He's just like one of those perfect guys that like non superstar. But I always say like guy like him is like the best quote unquote basketball player on the team, because like your superstars can just rely on superhuman things that they do, but they get away with some of the that's not the right play, but he made it work anyway. Like Derrick White, whenever Derrick White makes a mistake, I'm just like, well, that's clearly an aberration. And it's whatever. I don't know. I could talk about him all day.
Glitch in the Matrix.
So could you just then trade him so that he can go somewhere that's going to be competitive next year, please? Could you do that? Because I'd like to see Derrick White compete.
No.
Hey, who's going to start at center, John?
Maybe me.
Yeah, could be you.
Yeah, Luka Garza, everybody. Luka Garza starting center for the Boston Celtics.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God is the right reaction.
Didn't they say Cato was going to?
I don't think so. That is so much worse. I'd rather have.
What happened to Xavier Tillman? What happened? The guy played in the final.
John is taller than Xavier Tillman.
He exists. Honestly, the real answer is that the knee is a problem, and that knee continued to be a problem. I think last year the knee they didn't let on, but that knee that was bothering him on the when he got traded over from Memphis continued to be an issue. It kind of flared up again. I think he got heavy because of it, because he couldn't really move. And it just impacted him last season. If he can get the knee healthy, if he can come into camp healthy, he might actually be like the preseason story that I'm writing about, because he actually could be like a small ball center for sure. But right now I'm kind of like not including him, because it's been a year and a half of the knee, and kind of like, yeah, he had that moment in the finals, but the Celtics need a center. They're starting Derrick White, Jaylen Brown, Garza, who else? Maybe George Niang, he might start. And then I'm Anthony Simons, yeah. Unless
who are they trading
forgot
Anthony
he's on the
Simons
team.
for? What big are you trading Anthony Simons for,
That's the
John?
question.
Miles
That's
Turner.
the question. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Brad's going to do that, because he's not going to want to spend the big money on that. Look, Celtics, this is like, obviously the Celtics are going to be like at best like a 500 team, probably, right? Like, and that's which is fine, and maybe they'll get a good matchup in the first round of the playoffs and win, because they know how to, they've been there before. But like, second round is probably their like everything goes right ceiling.
They being who? They being just Jaylen Brown and Derrick White, right?
Well, I mean, like
Pritchard exists.
Pritchard,
They're
how
still going to take a lot of threes.
They're still going to run, like their offense isn't going to be terrible. It's their defense might be like bottom 5. But you kind of never know how things go. But bottom line is the Celtics are like a non-factor next year. But I still hold out like some hope that Jason Tatum can come back at some point with regular season games left to play, and he could use those as kind of like a get back up to speed, get back into some NBA game shape, get that soreness out, then head back into the summer and continue almost like an enhanced rehab stint. And then the plan for the Celtics is why you keep Derrick White and you keep these guys is you have auditioned role players, and next year, maybe you've gotten yourself into a place where you can use your full mid-level and you can be a little bit of a player in the free agent market, and you can kind of fill some gaps in. And this is a year, maybe things don't go all right and you dip into the lottery and you get a decent player in the draft, and then you come back and you've got a healthy Tatum, you've got everybody, and that kind of gets you back into a little bit of the mix the year after.
Can't wait for the Celtics to sign DeAndre Ayton next summer. It's gonna be great.
This is just for Matt Moore. Who plays an NBA basketball game first? Jason Tatum or Kyrie Irving?
Jason Tatum, for sure. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
No question.
Oh, yeah.
Without question.
Is
like,
that
at least Jason Tatum wants to play basketball.
Nick hates you so much right now, Matt.
Like,
Don't get a second
that
tentacle, Matt.
he was just staring daggers at you.
No,
Like,
I just knew exactly what he was going to say.
we need to tease this for next week, because I actually want to bring something from Ryan Blackburn onto next week's squad show, which is Ryan is of the belief that if you start in the NBA, not for all, I'm trying to be fair to you, not for all teams,
biggest eye roll I've ever seen.
not for all teams, not in all situations, but most starters deserve a higher ranking on like than sub players than bench guys.
Let me actually explain this.
Yeah,
They deserve the actual benefit of the doubt in your rankings, that a tie like a metaphorical tie between a starter and a bench player in your mind should go to the starter, because they're on every scouting report imaginable.
Ryan has Peyton Pritchard at like 100.
Yeah. Is that unreasonable?
Yeah, so John
so
Colin Sexton starts every game for the Jazz, and so I should put Peyton Pritchard below him, because
I don't have Colin Sexton in my top 100.
But he was a starter in the NBA.
Guys,
on a National Basketball Association team.
Let's do the math.
Let's do this next week, when most of us will have submitted our list by then. So come back to the squad show wherever you're listening, watching this, to your favorite feed. Go check it out, guys. We appreciate each and every one of you for jumping down on the show. There's a link in the description wherever you're listening, watching this, to find one of our great shows. We're still going multiple shows a week, all the time. Matt Moore is hiding. The first time I've ever seen Matt Moore. Matt Moore hide. Great stuff from everybody. Go check out the link in the description to find your favorite show. This has been the Squad Show, taking over the feed of your favorite show. Thanks for listening to Locked On NBA Squad.